Hello everyone, welcome back. I am doing another Sims 4 speed build for you today, and as always, some of the packs featured in this video I did receive from the EA Creator Network for free. However, most of them I did pay for myself. So we're on color 2 of the A Very Insert Color Name House mini series that I'm doing every Monday. I started with red, which was the last week's video, which you can check out. Also, I forgot to upload the red house to the gallery, but it is there now. This one is a very orange house. Next week it will be a very yellow house, and so on and so forth. I'm still considering whether or not to do a very white house, a very black house, and potentially maybe even a very brown house. But I don't know if I'm gonna do a very pink house in this particular series. I'm thinking of doing a second series of apartments, like either a for rent custom apartment building that has like 6 apartments in it and each one is themed after a color. So pink, lavender, light blue, like yellow orange or peach maybe, beige maybe, you know, that kind of stuff, gray maybe, like the pastel versions of these main house builds. So I don't think I'm going to include pink in this one probably. I'm probably just going to do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple for the main colors, and then white, black, and brown for the other few colors for this series, which will take us quite a while if I'm only doing one a week, honestly. But that's something to look forward to from my channel every Monday for a while, is a very insert color name house. Did I mention that I forgot to upload the red one to the gallery, but it's there now? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I did forget initially, but I do have that and the orange one on the gallery. So I don't know why, but orange to me says 70s. And more specifically, it says Vegas in the 70s, you know? And so that's kind of the feel that I was going for the most part. I was going off of pictures of a real life house, and it's really hard to get real life houses in The Sims. I so very desperately wish that we can put roofs and windows on half walls, because that's what this was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a full wall height upper level. It was just supposed to be big enough to get windows in above the roof line, and be like, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a cathedral ceiling in the main, basically main room of the house, because the kitchen, living room, and dining room are basically one room. So yeah, that's kind of what that was supposed to be. And in The Sims 4, it's a massive cathedral ceiling then, because you have to use a full wall height. So it's basically a second story up there. But you don't play from that perspective most of the time anyway, so you don't realize how truly massive, and the Sims don't care. It's all the same to them. So, you know, I try to let go of things like that. I also tried to let go of certain rules of decorating and stuff when I'm doing these whole house in one color things. For instance, not everything is exactly 100% 70s style. And typically, if I was, and you've seen me doing these recently, there was a few houses there in a row that I did that were all very mid-century and or 70s and or very deserty vibed houses. In in doing a house like this, and you won't notice it right away, you won't notice it until we get to the bedrooms, basically. You kind of have to let go of, not everything is going to be perfectly 70s. You have only a limited number of items available to you, and not all of them come in the colors that you need. And the point of this is to do an orange house. I just felt that in this particular case, and with me in particular, orange just feels very Vegas in the 70s. And as luck should have it, a lot of the furniture that we have also lends itself to that sort of aesthetic or theme or style, whatever you want to call it. So it worked really well for the most part. And the part you're going to notice that it didn't work as well in is when we get to the bedrooms. But let's be honest here. Outside of YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and magazines of old and whatnot, you would not have ever seen a child's bedroom specifically being all well put together and on theme for the rest of the house and everything. Like in real life, that very rarely actually happens unless you're really wealthy and you have the money to throw at it. Because children's personalities and styles and what they like and don't like change almost weekly. And who has the time, money, or energy to decorate every time a child changes their mind about what they like, right? And so I tried to let go of that. It needs to be Pinterest worthy and just go, okay, orange is the color, and that's mostly what we're worried about right now, is making everything orange and still look good together within at least this room, if not the greater house. But the main point is to keep everything orange. And I kind of just, I had to let go of those expectations. Also, I tried for the most part to stick with that sort of bright, bold, like true orange color. Although, as you can see, I did have some more brown stuff. And obviously there will be like full-on brown in here in the way of wood items and stuff like that. And because brown just naturally pairs well with orange, so there are a lot of things that will just end up being brown because that's what's on the objects themselves. And some of the oranges take on a more brown tone as well, but also peach was very common. And I go back and I change the cabinets, the kitchen counters and upper cabinets later to be that bolder, brighter orange, because I want to save the peach for if I do decide to do that pastel color apartment building build, or if I do like eco lifestyle and Sulani apartments in the pastel colors or whatever. I wanted to save peach mostly for that. So anything that takes up a prominent view in the house that's peach right now, I go back and change to the deeper orange color so that it doesn't skew too much towards the pastel, and it's not just all sorts of different random versions of orange. It's mainly that one orange color. I just felt like doing it that way because I want to save the peach. So that is why you'll see some things change later on. I did keep some peach in some of the areas because I got tired of looking at the orange and I needed the contrast. So for instance, in here the walls are more of the peach color, but that's because I needed the contrast between the furniture and the walls because everything was starting to blend together. I have this issue with my eyes, and I've had it my whole life, and it's not actually my eyes, it's the way my brain processes what I'm seeing. And I think some of it has to do with my lack of depth perception. But if there are too many things, even if they're three-dimensional, even in real life, where everything is obviously very three-dimensional, if there are too many things close together that are the same color, I cannot see the individual items. I just see one big blob of color. And to explain this to people, I use a story of something that happened to me one morning when I was really tired and it was really noticeable. I had these square plastic canisters from Target. You know, the ones with the white plastic lids on top of them that they're kind of like stopper type lids where you just press them down into the canister. Just the really cheap containers, like pantry containers. Kind of similar to the ones you're going to see in the pantry for this house in a minute. Anyways, bright white plastic lid. And I have these, or I used to have these bright white plastic measuring spoons as well. And I don't remember what was in the canister or why I set the spoon on top of it. But for whatever reason, I had the teaspoon-sized white plastic spoon sitting on top of this white plastic canister lid. And I was standing in the kitchen drinking my coffee one day after sending my daughter off to school. And I was looking at the canister and I'm like, who stuck a sticker to my brand new canister thing that I was using for, you know, sort of decorative, nicer looking storage on my countertop? I'm like, that's ridiculous. You can't trust anybody in this house anymore. So I walk over to the canister because I'm gonna peel this sticker off of it. And I reach out to touch the sticker and it's not a sticker. And I'm like, what? What is going on here? So I lift the canister up off of the counter and I like bring it right up to my face. And that's when I realize that's a spoon. That's a plastic measuring spoon. And the sticker that I thought I saw was actually the printed label on the spoon telling me what size spoon that was. In this case, 1 teaspoon. But all I could see from a few feet away was that it looked like a sticker and that it was stuck to the top of the canister. I could not see the spoon. The spoon was completely invisible to me. It was as if the spoon did not exist. I had to, not even touching the label on the spoon made me be able to see the spoon. I had to physically pick up the entire canister and bring the whole thing right to my face in order to be able to differentiate between the spoon and the canister. And once I saw the spoon there, then I could see it. I could see the shadow around it. I could see the three-dimensional dip of the actual spoon part. It's just the way my brain processes stuff, which is to say it doesn't process visual things like that very well. So, long story short, if I get too many things that are too close to the same color going in these builds, I can't really like differentiate. I put them there so I know they're there and I know what they are, but it all starts to look like one big blob of color after a while, and it actually becomes irritating to my brain and causes me a headache. So I have to use some kind of contrast. So hence the peach walls in an orange house. that's like the best way I can describe what's happening. Another way that people might be more familiar with that I can describe what's happening is I can't see animals in fields and on the side of the road. Like when you're driving down the road and you're supposed to be scanning for animals, like when you're out in the country or whatever, I can't see animals. Even when there's an entire herd of deer standing in the field just off the road, especially in the fall when the field is like dead and brown, I cannot see the deer like at all. It's a good thing I can't drive because I would not be able to see animals unless it was like a black and white cow standing in a field of grass or a yellow dog standing amongst, flowers or whatever. It has to be contrasting colors like that for me to be able to see them. Or like a white cat. I would be able to see a white cat unless it was winter and there was snow everywhere. Then I wouldn't be able to see the white cat either. You know what I mean? So, and I think this is a problem that a lot of people have. They just don't realize they have it. And I personally never put much thought into it either until the incident with the plastic canister and spoon. And then it was like, whoa, what is going on here? This is really weird. And that's when I realized I have this processing issue with my brain that cannot differentiate even 3D objects if they are too similar in color and stuff. So this is the teen's bedroom, by the way. I thought I should mention that in case it wasn't super obvious. But yes, this is the teen's bedroom. I did kind of decorate this slightly more feminine, but not overly feminine. I think it could work either way. But there was a slightly more feminine feeling that I was going for in that room as I was decorating it. Again, looking at it from this video though, it could go either way, really. It could be masculine or feminine. Sorry. Stumbling over my words again. This room is definitely masculine. I very much decidedly thought that this would be for a little boy. So I definitely wanted this to have a more masculine little boy feel to it. But the other room, I guess you could say the other room for the teen is more gender fluid. And really, being that this room is orange, it could be very gender fluid as well, honestly. But in my mind, I was creating it for a very masculine little boy, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the thought process behind this room. But yeah, the teen one, that one, I just had sort of a feminine feel to it, but not overly. And this is where things really started going downhill because you've got the cat-shaped bed, but the cats on the bed are pink, and then you have the supposedly matching curtains and other furniture, but like the orange matches on everything, but the secondary color of everything is different. So you've got green, you've got pink, you've got blue. I'm pretty sure all of those things, except maybe the curtains, came together in the My First Pet stuff pack. I'm fairly certain they did. I could be wrong about that, but as you saw there was no pink and orange. It was blue and orange for the dresser, and the orange on the desk was slightly different, and it was a little bit weird and annoying, and I couldn't get everything to perfectly match up. So it was another one of those instances where I just had to let go and remind myself that the point is that this is just supposed to be an orange house, and everything's supposed to be orange based. And as long as we have that, it's fine. It does have to look semi-decent. But also it's a kid's room, and kids' rooms are just like that sometimes. They're just like that. So I needed to let go of that desperate need to make everything Pinterest worthy and just let it be what it was, you know? And then this is the last bedroom. This is the parents' bedroom, and it's sort of like its own sectioned off little suite, I guess. Even though the closet and the bathroom are not in the room and they're actually in the hallway, it is a sectioned off hallway. But it's not like a super private hallway. I kind of tried to balance that sectioning it off, but not making it feel like it's a completely, totally different wing of the house or something type of thing. So yeah, I think it works out pretty well. It might be a little weird that the closet isn't in the bedroom and it's in that more open hallway space, but it's The Sims, so I think it works. And then I just did a little desert inspired landscaping for the front. Nothing fancy, nothing too big. It is the desert after all. Even if this part of the desert looks lush and green, I can almost guarantee you that just an inch below all that dirt is pure sand. I know because I live in a house that's similar to that. Just a few inches below our dirt and grass, it's purely sand. And it doesn't it grows grass well enough now, but in the beginning it didn't. And even now it's mostly weedy grass. So yeah. Also, you're gonna notice me start saving a lot, and I did not feel like going and cutting each one of those instances out. And also, every time you save, the grid turns back on for some reason, and I got tired of turning it on and off. And you'll notice that I did this last part of the house without move objects on. All of these things are related to each other because, right when I cut to do the backyard, my game crashed. So what happened was I had placed the fence and I went to place a pool down and it wouldn't place. Like I just couldn't. I would click and click and click and nothing would happen. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I'll save and reload and I'll be able to place a pool again. And so I went to save and the game crashed. Luckily, I had just saved right before I started the backyard, so all I lost was the fence and the like patio paver area. But that was it, nothing else. The whole house had already been saved and it didn't corrupt the save file, which was really lucky. So all I had to do was redo the fence and stuff. Not a big deal, but I got paranoid and I started saving every few minutes then, so that I didn't lose any of my work again, and I didn't bother turning new objects on, and I left the grid on because it became a pain, and I didn't know what caused the crash in the first place, so that's why this part is the way it is. Lots of saves and grid on. You know, I used to build only with the grid on because it made it easier for me, and then I heard that most people don't like it, so I stopped. What do you guys like? Anyways, we're done with the speed build part. Let's get to the walkthrough now. Okay, here is the lot in this sort of more lush neighborhood in Oasis Springs. Very, again, like 70s vibes here. I made a sort of makeshift garage and driveway there, even though our Sims can't and probably will never be able to use it. A little bit of landscaping there, and then a nice front patio area here. and we'll just enter in the front door, which brings us right into the entryway. This house is a little bit bigger and nicer, so I gave them a security system. There's the hallway that leads to the garage this way with some workshop stuff and, like electrical panel, water heater, all that kind of good stuff. A guest bathroom over here. Nothing fancy, just a toilet and a sink. And then the laundry room with cat litter box here. I included some things that I always want to include but never think to include, like the vacuum cleaner and the broom and dustpan. I always say that the broom and dustpan comes from cats and dogs, and I don't know why I keep saying that. I've known forever now that it came with laundry day stuff, but for some reason, the first thing I always say is it came with cats and dogs. It did not. I feel like I need to go back and correct every video I've ever made. I don't know why I do that. That's just what my brain is stuck on for some reason. But anyways, here is the teen's bedroom. She or he or they have all sorts of fun stuff in here, including their own little personal computer slash tablet thingy, a makeup set, some other desk accessories, and then, yeah, just a mess, basically. A mess of clothes and pillows and everything. Oh, this is the kids' bathroom. Nothing fancy, just a bathroom. And then this is the little boy's room. He's got all sorts of fun stuff in here, but it's all just very orange. And this is what I mean. This desk is more of like a yellowy orange, and it comes with some fun little stickers on the side, but where's the dresser? It doesn't go with the dresser. The dresser is like a deeper orange and blue, which kind of goes with the bed, but not really. It does match the end table though, but then the bed is like pink and orange with like gray wood. And then the curtains that should go with it, because it's got like little mice and fish bones on it, they're orange and green. What the heck? I don't know. But it's a kid's room, so it's fine. We're not gonna worry about it. Again, the entryway, a place to throw your keys, check yourself out as you leave, a bookshelf, toys for the dog, and then here is the kitchen, a fun open kitchen. We've got all the necessities here, plus a pantry. I love this pantry. It's so cute. I love that we have the kitchen clutter now. It makes spaces like this worth it. So that's fun. And then we have the dining room space, big table, lots of entertaining possibilities, a bowl for the cat and a bowl for the dog, a scratching post for the cat. We've got the living room area, plenty of space for everyone to sit and talk and hang out, watch TV. Then we've got the parents' wing of the house, I guess you could say. The first room is their private bathroom, and then the second room is their giant walk-in closet. And then, of course, their actual bedroom space here. Nothing too fancy, sorry. Just a place to lay their heads at night. That's basically about it. And then we'll go outside, and this is my favorite area. The swimming pool. I love swimming. I love swimming pools. This would be where I would spend all my time if I had this house. I love the backyard. It's kind of small. The house is kind of big. The lot is kind of small, so I didn't have a lot of room for a lot of pool space, but I think it's fine. And I don't know how I feel about the cactuses next to an area where children and pets play, but they look cute, so I included them anyways. And that is my very orange house. Oh yeah, you can see the giant ceilings better from this angle. I mean, I guess it doesn't actually look that bad. In my mind, it looked worse than what it actually really is. This actually looks pretty good like this. I take back everything I said at the beginning of the video. I kind of like that now. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you're thinking of this little series. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!